Want to look at the most successful books, the ones with the most reviews, the ones that have done the best, and you want to see, is there a theme there? Is there a theme of what is in the title? Is there a theme of what the pain points are in the subtitle? And you're not going to knock it off, but you need to learn from it.
Please step aside.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody to our BSPU call. We're going to be discussing today how to really craft your captivating title and compelling subtitle, something that really interests your ideal reader, your ideal client, and gets them to take additional action with you. I'm going to be going through some kind of general rules of thumb, if you will. And then we're going to actually go to one of our done-for-you clients, Andrea Bullard, and go through. She had asked for some feedback, and people were choosing between A, B, C, and D. And of course, I threw a whole wrench in the thing and it said, I'm not 100% sure I like them, but I'm not 100% sure that it really hits the spot. So I wanted to go through it, show Andrea and all of you how I look at crafting captivating and compelling title and subtitle, and how I think you should as well. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to dive right in to Andrea and look at her title and subtitle first, the questions that she was asking, and then I'm going to give you some rules of thumb, if you will. Let's see where it is. There it is right there. By the way, did you see Natasha? We did her launch in her media and PR, and it looks like a traditional publisher now, because of all of her success, wants to write her a big check. So that's cool. Congratulations, Natasha. That does happen if those of you are interested in getting a traditional publishing deal. However, if you use your book the way we teach you, you'll make far more money by keeping control of the content yourself. But hey, it is kind of a cool stroke of the ego to see somebody want to write you a big check because of the success with your book. Anyway, Andrea posted this last week in the Facebook group asking for some feedback on these three titles. Number one, the turnkey pillars and vision team systems leadership, putting an end to trial and error to build a highly profitable wealth management practice. Obviously, what Andrea does is she coaches those financial advisors and those people that are looking to build a profitable wealth management practice like she has. So she wants to communicate that in her title and subtitle. B, the turnkey pillars, putting an end to trial and error to build a highly profitable wealth management practice. And then C, the turnkey pillars, moving beyond trial and error to build a highly profitable wealth management practice. So obviously each one of these three have some of the exact same elements. The title is the same in all of them. It's the subtitle that's primarily changing. And most of the key points of the subtitle are the same as well. And that is that trial and error is a key pain point that Andrea is highlighting. That's in all three. And building a highly profitable wealth management practice is the key benefit. So, you know, what I wanted to look at with Andrea and with all of you is, and question, and she knows her clients far better than I do, but question, are these the most compelling and captivating pain points, benefits, etc., that should be used to really communicate something to this audience where they say, I got to have this book because, you know, Andrea gets me. Okay, so let me give you first some rules of thumb that you need to think about when it comes to titles and subtitles. And then I'm going to dive into the process directly with Andrea. So 5 things in particular that we want to look at. The first 3 have to do with the title, the main hook, and then the last 2 have to do with your subtitle. Number 1, your title needs to be interesting and memorable. Interesting and memorable. So how do you make something interesting and memorable? Well, there's lots of different ways, but oftentimes you do that by using words that are a little bit unusual, right? Like a Malcolm Gladwell with outliers. Outliers was a word that perhaps wasn't in our everyday vocabulary, and yet it still communicated something that was interesting and also very memorable. We can't always come up with a word as powerful as outliers. However, we do want to make sure that first and foremost, the title that we have is interesting and it is memorable. Generally speaking, it's interesting and memorable if it does a couple of things. Number two, it needs to provoke curiosity, right? It needs to say something where people go, wow, what does that mean? I kind of get it, but what are those things? And I'm certainly not saying that the turnkey pillars does not provoke curiosity, because you want to know what are the turnkey pillars. So there is some curiosity being provoked there. The other thing that I like, number three, is that, I like for a title to be 1 to 3 words. Can it be 4? The turnkey pillars, of course. Can it be 5? Yes, of course. But if you can find something that's 1 to 3 words, just look at many New York Times best-selling books, you'll see there's a really highly captivating short title, 1, 2, or 3 words, and then a more descriptive and benefit-rich subtitle. So that's number 5, having to do with subtitle. Your subtitle has to be benefit-rich, and number 5, it has to share what the promise is of reading the book. So you're going to give more information in the subtitle than you've given in the title. And that information needs to really hit them with the benefits, not features, because those are different, right? The benefits speak to what the reader will really get from it, gain from it. And then the promise, of course, is this is what you're going to learn from this book. So those are the 5 kind of rules of thumb that you want to think about when it comes to crafting a title and a subtitle that is compelling. I'll go through it again one more time. Number 1, interesting and memorable title. Number 2, a title that provokes curiosity. Number 3, if it can be 1 to 3 words, that's a bonus. Number 4, for the subtitle, it needs to be benefit rich. And number 5, for the subtitle, it needs to really invoke the promise. It needs to share, this is what the promise is of reading this book, okay? The last thing I'd say is that the only goal of the title is to stop people in their tracks and get them to read the next thing, which is the subtitle. And then the subtitle just hammers it home, you need this because of all these benefits. That's really it. All that title needs to do is stop them in their tracks, make it curiosity provoking enough for them to read the next line, and the next line says, hey, I get it, I want it. Just that simple, right? So impulse buying many times. Now, I'm not going to go through this entirely, but this is our author market questionnaire, and Andrea filled this out. I'm not going to give her personal information. I'm sure she's grateful for that at the beginning there. And I'm not going to go through this in great detail, but what Andrea did is fantastic. She was very detail-oriented in answering these questions. But I want to go through these questions and just highlight some things that Andrea said that's important. We want our clients to fill this out. My suggestion to you, even if you're not a client of ours and you're watching this through a YouTube video or something like that, is that you answer these questions for yourself. You need to know what it is, and you need to really think through what it is that your ideal client wants so that you can communicate those things to them. Don't be haphazard. Don't just pick a title out of the sky. Don't pick something because it's a cute little thing grandma used to say. No, it needs to be something that really speaks to your ideal audience and client. So we ask, what makes this book different from others in the same category? Andrea shares about her expertise. Financial advisors, reps cannot grow a financial planning practice by just getting new clients and hiring some administrative assistants. In order to grow a large practice that will give her clients concierge service and give the financial advisor rep time, freedom, and peace of mind, they must build the 4 pillars. And that's what Andrea spoke about in one of the titles, what those 4 pillars are: vision, team members, systems, great leadership. Love that. Now, we ask this question also because if there is something that you can say within your title that really sets you apart from everybody else that wrote a book on that subject matter, wow, then you got something really cool and special. You can't always do that, and I understand, but if you can, you should think about it and spend some good time, because if you can, then you got something powerful. Next, have you created any material for the book? A lot. We know that. Target reader, financial advisor or financial rep who wants to build his or her practice. These individuals are not employees of a firm. That's important. Now, this is really key. What are the problems, fears, anxieties that you will address in the book? Okay. Number one, overwhelm. Many financial advisors, reps feel overwhelmed with the complexity of the business. Okay, that's really important. I assume that because you have this as number one, that is the biggest thing. That's the way I would like you to think about this, is as you fill this out and you think about these problems, these fears, these anxieties, that you list them in at least what you think is the order of importance. Number two, they have no vision on how to build their practice, right? They don't know where this thing is going. Number three, they don't know how to hire and train staff, really important. They have, number four, no systems for every aspect of their business. Ouch. Number five, they want their team to take ownership of the business, but they do not know how to make that happen. That's leadership. Number six, financial advisor rep is limited to the number of clients she can service if they do not create hybrid players who are licensed. Got it. Okay, really important. Number seven, new model. The new model the book proposes is where every staff member plays an offensive role in the business. Okay, that's good. Offensive role, I would assume, is helping to bring new clients in. So I may want that specified. Number eight, the only thing every financial advisor rep wants to do is see people. They hate doing paperwork, hiring, training, so they must build the four pillars. Beautiful. Really good, Andrea. Really well thought out. What are the 10 most critical topics that you will address? There'll be some overlap in that. 10 most critical topics. The current business model is broken. Excellent. They must create a vision. Fantastic. They must define an A-team member in detail, the importance of hiring and onboarding, systems, the Bullard game plan. I love that. Obviously, Andrea is a killer expert. She knows exactly what she's doing. So she's got her Bullard game plan. They want the team to take ownership. Love it. Leadership, weekly team meetings, leadership, key growth plan, leadership. So there's some overlap, but they're different aspects of leadership, and referrals. Absolutely love that. And then lastly, what do you want this book to do for you or your business? And oftentimes this really is the first question that should be asked. You want to help financial advisors build their business. That's what all authors say, right? You immediately go to somebody else, even though that's not what the question was. Question is, what do you want it to do for you and your business? And of course, you want to become more of a thought leader. You're already a key person in this space. And you want it to help you to earn more money and build a tribe. And you have to think about what those things are. So absolutely love that. And you were very detail-oriented in this, Andrea. So now what I want to do, and what I always suggest clients to do, as well as our team to do. And by the way, Andrea, I do know that you met with a team member and came up with some of these things. And I'm not poo-pooing anything that was done or the team member that helped you, because these are my team members and these are people that I've trained and on this process. But I want, when I saw it, I had more thoughts, and without talking to you personally, I felt like this would be a good training exercise. And I felt like this would be something that, everybody could really gain from, because it's so important. Your book is bought on your cover and the title. Anyway, so what's the first thing that we want to do after this is done and you really thought through it? First thing I always want to do, I want to do some research. So I just went into Amazon and I just typed wealth management practice. I might do deeper research, but I did this in 15 minutes. But I might, after looking at this, I might type in grow my wealth management practice or build my wealth management practice, right? Which is a little bit more key. So this is a little bit more general, but I'm going to scroll through, and what I'm going to do and what you should do is look for the most successful books. Now I scrolled right past these because these are more textbooks, passing. These are sponsored. They're not applicable at all. But boom, first one, Structural Alpha, Building and Maintaining an Elite Wealth Management Practice. It has 13 reviews. That's not bad, but Structural Alpha, I don't get anything from that unless, he's just an alpha male, and I don't know. Nothing for me. However, this second part, Building and Maintaining an Elite Wealth Management Practice, okay. Okay, that's all I'd give it. If this thing had 130 reviews, I'd go, okay, maybe there's something to it, but nah, I don't like it, and it doesn't have enough reviews to really get my attention. 4 reviews, Implementing the Wealth Management Index, okay, 4 reviews, not much. The Ensemble Practice, a team-based approach to building a superior wealth management firm, 10 reviews, not bad. $45 for a hardcover, don't think so. Goal-based wealth management, 1 review, 3 stars. We're going to pass that up pretty fast. Private wealth management and practice, don't think so. So, I'm looking through, no reviews, 4 reviews, 11 reviews on buying and selling. Okay, this is a little bit better. The messy marketplace, no. Selling your business, that's not what we're interested in doing. 4 reviews. This, by the way, J. Conrad Levinson wrote Guerrilla Marketing. Guerrilla Marketing for Financial Advisors, only 4 reviews. Wow, how disappointing. Honestly, probably should have done a lot more, because this is a really famous individual and a famous brand. I believe he's passed away now, but very famous brand, Guerrilla Marketing. So disappointing. Obviously not much was done with the launch. So, and the Guerrilla Marketing brand must not, really have as many followers as it used to. So, I'm looking, I'm not really seeing, I'm seeing, 34, that's more about decision making. Oh, here we go. Okay, we got something now. 3 reviews, not so much. Boom, 71 reviews. That's pretty doggone good right there from everything else. I mean, we've scrolled through a couple dozen books. We haven't seen anything with this many reviews. The $1 Million Financial Services Practice, a proven system for becoming a top producer. Okay, that's interesting. Right in the title, big words, right? $1 Million Financial Services Practice. Now that's 5 keywords, more than I like, but let me give you a rule breaker of the rule of thumb. So sometimes in some aspects of genres, you can get away with a more general title. Outliers, 1 word, general, very curiosity provoking. But there are other businesses where you really need to say in the title who this is for. Publish, promote, profit. Those aren't the 3 most original or sexy words, right, in the vocabulary. But I wanted it to be clear as soon as somebody looked at the title, who this is for. This is for someone that wants to write a book, wants to publish a book, wants to make some profit with a book. And so I needed to say that right out of the gate. So here we see the very best book on this subject matter actually has financial services practice right in the title. Okay. So that's something to consider, Andrea. Let's keep looking. Best practices of elite advisors, 18. That's a good number of reviews, but that's not a good title at all. Probably if there were a better title, they could do significantly better. There's a book on recession. No. Okay, here's some others. Okay, again, this is I guess another version of it, right? This is David Mullen. This is about $1 Million Financial Services Practice. This is the $1 Million Financial Advisor, 52 reviews there, really strong. The $1 Million Financial Advisor Team, 3 reviews. Maybe that just came out, I don't know, or maybe people aren't as interested in team building. So you make a note of that, right? In fact, let's click on this and let's just see. Let's see when this thing came out. So it came out last year and it only has 3 reviews. Okay, that's a bad sign and a good sign, meaning that's a sign to us that maybe people aren't interested in as much building teams as they are in, right, the general lessons of becoming a $1 million financial advisor. But what we've seen with, at least at this moment, right, it's not extensive research, but we've seen the most successful books thus far have financial advisor or have financial services practice right there in the title that speaks directly to them. Now, I did a little bit more research, and I would suggest, Andrea, you do even more, and maybe you've done a ton. But I just typed in build a financial services business, right, into Amazon. So you scroll through financial statements. That's a general marketing plan, right? Probably as a search topic, that's not great. Social media handbook for financial advisors. That's really, really narrow. So that's not it. Okay, simple plan for wealth. Wow, 869 reviews. That's great, but that's too general. That's not for financial advisors. Whoa, boom. Look at this, 234 reviews. The Irresistible Consultant's Guide to Winning Clients. 6 steps to unlimited clients and financial freedom. Now, you might say, oh, okay, it may not, that's probably not directly dealing with financial advice firms, but it is for consultants, and financial advice people consider themselves consultants. So that's pretty powerful. So, there's some things that we can, okay, winning clients is something that consultants they find very important, right? Unlimited clients, he says it twice, right? In the title and in the subtitle. And then financial freedom, which in my opinion, that's way, way, way overused. I wouldn't be too excited about that. There's Jeff Walker's book, Launch, but he launched it with his massive list, so that doesn't really count. Pharmacy consulting, old Rich Dad is right there. That's about buying a book of business, not helpful. How to build a service business from the dirt up. No, that's not helpful. 1 million followers. These are sponsored. So some of these aren't going to be applicable. Oh, here's another one, the $1 million private practice. And again, that's private practice, not necessarily financial services practice, but $1 million private practice, use your expertise to build a business that makes a difference. So, you got private practice in there. Obviously, the $1 million thing can be a bit overused. There's the $1 million financial advisor. Again, powerful lessons and proven strategies from top producers. Okay, interesting, very interesting. So what do we do with this information? Now, this is not extensive research, 10 minutes of research. I would do a lot more, right? I would, I'd go back to this one and I'd say, I'd type in, grow a wealth management practice, and I'd see, did something else come up, right? Is there something else that I can learn? Financial advisor success, I don't know, 3 reviews, not that great. I would do more research, but there are some things that I think we can learn from what we've already viewed. Okay, so let's go back to the titles that you have. And so here are questions that I would have for you, Andrea, regarding the titles if we were having a one-on-one, and I can certainly make you live at the end of this part of the session. We can do a little bit of that. But here's what I would ask you. You have as the key title, turnkey pillars, the turnkey pillars, turnkey pillars. Is that like something that financial advisors immediately go, wow, that is something that I need, like that's something that gets me immediately, right? I need a turnkey business. When I like the first words turnkey, I think of, I don't know, a turnkey rental house, or, I don't know. I don't know that my mind immediately goes to building a financial services practice. Now, your client far better than I do. If turnkey is the number one thing that is burning in their heart, they want a turnkey, then what I would say that you have to add to it from the research that we did in Amazon, right, in these two, is I would say that what you have to add to it to really make it clear is you've got to add to it financial services practice, right? And I can't find the book now, but you know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I went back. Here we go. I would say you have to, just like these other, the $1 million financial services practice, the $1 million financial service advisor, the $1 million financial advisor team. Now, this author, David Mullen, clearly feels like $1 million is what everybody is looking for, right? If you're telling me that you feel like what everybody is looking for is turnkey, then I would say you've got to, at the very least, make it like clear that this is about having a turnkey financial services practice or a turnkey wealth management practice. I know that's more than 3 words, but this is one of those topics where I think you really have to say it right from the get-go. Otherwise, if people see turnkey pillar and they're in the financial services business, they may never read the subtitle, right? They may never go there. They may stop right there because it may not resonate with them immediately. The other thing that I would say is that you really need, I know you did a lot of work here, right, in what the problems and fears and anxieties and challenges are. What you need to decide is turnkey the number one thing that they want? Do they want a turnkey financial management practice? Do they want a turnkey wealth management practice? If the answer is yes, then fantastic. Obviously, the other author thought they wanted $1 million financial advice, business, or $1 million wealth management consulting. And I'm not saying that you rip that off, but if you're telling me that the most important thing is turnkey, then great. But if you say, Rob, I don't know that the most important thing is turnkey, maybe something else is, then I think you need to rethink the whole turnkey thing. If it is, then I would just say what I would consider doing is adding wealth management practice into the main title of it so that they immediately see turnkey wealth management practice. So they get it immediately. That's number one. Number two, you have in the benefits, right? Remember, the subtitle needs to be benefit rich and say the promise of the book. The benefit is you're going to end this trial and error issue. And the promise is that you're going to help them build a highly profitable wealth management practice. Both good things. But if you have and these are two benefits in essence, right? Put an end to the trial and error, build a highly profitable wealth management firm. I oftentimes generally like one or three, and three I love, because the human mind works in threes, right? So, the new rules of writing, marketing, and making money with a book. It's about writing, marketing, and making money with a book. Those are the three benefits, the three promises that I give in the book. I can show you example after example of three. So I would say, and what I tell my clients is, choose the three best benefits, right? The three absolute killer, most desirable / painful to desirable things that you are going to promise to teach them about in your subtitle. Now, if you're telling me that putting an end to trial and error is the number one pain point, then fine. Is it though? Is that I talk about entering the conversation in the client's head. When you have a female financial practice consultant, or a female wealth advisor, or a male. I think you said in your author market questionnaire, well, at least you wrote a previous book focused on females that are in the business. This may be for both male and female. So whether it's a male or female doesn't matter, but envision them sitting around a coffee table and having a conversation with their spouse. And are they saying to their spouse, man, if I could just put an end to the trial and error and just have a solution? Are they saying that? Is that the conversation going on in their head? And if it is, fantastic. If it's not, then what is it? What are they saying to each other that if you say it in that subtitle, they go, holy cow, is she under the bed at night, right? Is she hiding under the dining room table having this conversation with us? So if you say, hey, the trial and error part is major, great, then leave it in there. And if you say that building a highly profitable firm is major, great. Then the only thing I would add is, and I'm talking about the most major, right? Because you got tons of them here. You got tons of problems, tons of things that you're going to teach them. I want you to pick the absolute three best. So if you love these two, and these are number one and number two, then great. The number three, I would suggest add a third in there and make your third in the subtitle the third, real powerful benefit. The real powerful thing where they go, because some people are going to say, gosh, I have a highly profitable firm and, I really have a good handle on it, but, right? But, I am just overwhelmed with work and I haven't taught my team how to take ownership, right? And so, you may have somebody that reads that and goes, I'm making plenty of money and I've got that figured out. But then you hit them, just because you say the third benefit, the third benefit might be, right, that you're going to help them reduce the number of hours that they work. They're going to go, holy cow, if she can help me reduce the number of hours that I work and make as much or more money because my team is taking ownership, that would be a life changer. I've got to have this book. So your first two benefits didn't get them, but your third got them. That's why you want to have a third in there that's maybe a little bit different, but also the third most powerful pain point. Okay. So, as I said before, some industries are better off with, the industry in the main title rather than the subtitle. I think from what I've seen, right, in the research, and I do know your space pretty good, from what I've seen, it seems like that the most successful books have, financial advice, financial advisor, wealth management right there in the main title instead of the subtitle. And then the subtitle can be, I'm going to help you to put an end to trial and error, build a highly profitable wealth management practice, and reduce your hours by 37%. I don't know if you can do that, but you get the idea, right? And help you to grow, have your team take ownership so you can reduce your hours, and that's too wordy, but you get the idea. You figure out what that number 3 most powerful benefit is, and then you lay that in there. So if you love turnkey, like that's the big thing they're thinking about, then my suggestion would be to add wealth management practice, financial advisor, etc. If the key pain points benefits are the trial and error problem and having a highly profitable firm, then great, keep those and add a third. If you say to yourself, I don't know that they're the biggest, or you know what, I don't know that highly profitable wealth management practice really communicates what they want, right? And I don't know if it does or doesn't. You need to think about these things and then decide, can I communicate it a little bit differently? Should I? Or should I just add a third benefit? So anyway, that is the kind of general overview, as well as the very, very specific ways that we can take a look at yours, Andrea, and what you need to do. So again, you have the 5 rules of thumb. You then really think about who your ideal client is. You add to that research, and more research than I've done, right? And you want to look at the most successful books, the ones with the most reviews, the ones that have done the best, and you want to see, is there a theme there? Is there a theme of what is in the title? Is there a theme of what the pain points are in the subtitle? And you're not going to knock it off, but you need to learn from it, and you need to add your own flair. But look, if they all want $1 million practice, then you might want to find a way to fit that in there, right? Maybe not as the title, but maybe as one of the benefits of the subtitle. And who knows if they want that. That may be just one guy doing it. That's why you need to do more extensive research than this. Anyway, I hope that's helpful to you. That's our extensive how to create a compelling and captivating title for our BSPU call.